So, most people's morning routine tends to be this. The alarm goes off, beep, 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 snooze. Beep, 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 snooze. And eventually, after about 5 snoozes, they eventually get to the side of the bed and they sit there and go, oh, bollocks. Why do I do this every single day? Why do I get up and go to work? What is the purpose in what I do? How many of you had that? Anybody had that in the morning? Sometimes when you wake up and you just don't know why you wake up? Well, it's incredibly important to really understand what your why is in terms of what you do and why you do it. Because I actually lost that reason and why I got up every single day back in 2008. And I'm sure you all remember 2008 was a pretty tough period. Anybody have any tough times in their businesses at that particular point in time? I was working in the stock market, so I had a really tough time. As you can see there, I worked at various different investment houses for 21 years. And in 2008, we had about 3 billion of hedge fund sales just walk out the door. And it was one of the toughest times of my life, I have to say. I was sales director of the particular company, and we had to lay off a lot of staff. And people were walking out with boxes, people that you really care about. And at that point, I just got into a really, really, really tough period in terms of stress. And that stress led to ailment after ailment, doctor after doctor, specialist after specialist. One of the things we used to say in the investment management industry is that in terms of investments, it's top-down macroeconomic view and bottom-up stock-picking view. And the first thing I'll tell you is be very careful what you say. Because I had 2 of those cameras up my arse and 2 of them down my throat, and I wish I hadn't said that, to be honest. So be very careful what you say, because you never know what you might be able to create. Because everything that is voiced, that comes out of your mouth, is energy. Anyway, by the end of 2009, I needed 2 operations. And unfortunately, those operations went horribly wrong. And for the next 3 years, I was basically waking up maybe 10, 15 times like I'd been punched in the stomach. I would go into meetings with CEOs and CFOs and be sitting there talking to the likes of JP Morgan or UBS. And I'd have to excuse myself maybe 3 times during a lunch period because the pain was so bad. I had to go and stretch and try and relieve the pain. And this went on, and I thought it couldn't get any worse. And then in 2012, I ended up getting something called a norovirus. And anyone know what the norovirus is? Anybody? It's like a stomach bomb. And when you've had the operations that I had on your digestive tract, you certainly didn't want to get the norovirus. So anyway, after 10 days of serious dehydration, I ended up on an ambulance, rushed to hospital. And in the ambulance, ECG said heart, blood pressure had doubled. And I arrived into A&E and looking at the blood pressure thing, I used to play Premier League, National League hockey, so I was pretty fit. I had 110/70 was the usual. I'm looking at 250. I'm going, holy shit, what's going on here? And literally, I thought, right, this is it. And I was put on one of those trays and I was wheeled down to X-ray because they thought there was a blockage in the abdomen. And on the way down, suddenly the lights went on. And I was encapsulating this amazing feeling of love, energy, and connection. Nothing like I'd ever had before. There was no man with a beard, but there was a definite energetic presence which changed my life. And I came back, obviously, I'm here. And I came back with a passion to really help people. And I decided that I really needed to learn a bit about spirituality, as I had this spiritual experience. So I got into spirituality first, and then got into healing because I wanted to heal myself. And then the healing turned into life coaching to business coaching, and then on-stage talks like this, and then radio shows. And I have a radio show now that's gone from 0 to 130,000 people in a very short space of time. And I've had people like Stuart Lancaster on, Gary McGann, the chairman of Paddypower Betfair on. I had Jamie Heaslip on last Friday, who's obviously the ex-Irish international captain. And this week I've got Dr. John Demartini, he was from The Secret film. I actually was on stage, sharing the stage with him on Tuesday. And I've been on the stage with some amazing people, including Lisa Nichols, as you can see down the bottom right there, and many others there that I put on there as well. And now DNS Performance Optimisation is a fantastic company in terms of coaching, consulting, and corporate training. It's not just me. I've got lots of people working for me as well. And we've got some major big accounts. And they include the likes of Dell and people like that. So you can see what I do there. But in terms of high performance success without stress, on my radio show I always talk about how to make it happen in life. And my acronym of MAKE is all about mindset and motivation, in terms about motivating yourself first, then the team around you, and then your clients to buy as well. And then secondly, it's all about actions and activities. knowing exactly where you are and where you're looking to get to. And I always say it's really important to put a business plan in place and plan exactly what you're trying to do. How many people here have a business plan for their business? How many people here use it as a workbook? No one? Most people's business plan, and I used to do this in the corporate world every single year, gets given. I used to give mine into the CEO. He used to take it and go, wow, that's brilliant. And he put it in the drawer and we didn't look at it again for another year. And then come bonus time, he takes it out and he goes, yeah, you didn't do that, you did do that, we'll give you this. It's an absolute waste of time. A business plan should be putting in place a target for the year, a target for the quarter, a target for the month, the week, and even the day. And use it as a work plan every single day, creating activities every day that lead to your end goal. Secondly, client map. Incredibly important that you know exactly who you're seeing and why you're seeing them. There's so many people I knew in my old industry, and even now, who go out with their friends that aren't necessarily going to be giving them the best amount of revenue. And I had clients that I would actually map out, knowing exactly how much that client was worth every single time. And I made sure that all my team that worked for me did exactly the same thing. Thirdly, in terms of actions, I would activity plan your day every single day, because time is money. I used to make sure that I optimized my time right down to the detail of making sure that if I had a meeting at lunchtime, and I suggest you always make a lunch meeting because we all have to eat, and it's a good opportunity to actually make a sale while you're doing it. But actually, while you're eating, make sure you geographically put 2 clients either side of that meeting, so that when you're out of the office, you literally optimize your time. Get 3 meetings during the day. And then when you're with those clients, you get into the flow of talking about markets, talking about the industry, talking about the products, and then you can use that flow that you get into to then, in the afternoon, start talking to your clients on the phone and add value to them and aim to get more meetings. And also, people tend to go home at 5 o'clock, so they tend to be a bit more happy to pick up the phone at the end of the day rather than the start of the day, in my opinion, anyway. So, next is knowledge, or have a knowing faith in yourself. Firstly, know your client, know your product, know your industry, and match your client needs to your USPs. This day and age, we've got such a big advantage compared to when I first started in the industry back in the 90s, because obviously we can use LinkedIn. I met with the head of Dell the other day, the president of Dell, Angus Hegarty, and I knew where he'd been. I knew he'd been to China, I knew he'd been across to Morocco, and I knew he'd been to Las Vegas. And when I walked in there, he was very impressed. I could tell by the fact that I've been following what he'd been doing on Twitter and LinkedIn. So use the social media channels to make sure that you know all about your client, because remember, it's all about them. Also, you need to have a knowing faith in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have faith in that purpose of why you're doing what you're doing, nobody else is. And if you have a team that is working for you, you need to make sure that you disseminate that message down to your team every single day. Because they need to know why they're walking in your office, why they're doing what they're doing, and so do you. So it's incredibly important to make your purpose key to every single person's mind every single day. And I know this for a fact, because when I was at Davy, I had a guy who, he was saying to me, and he was saying that he was fed up. He was absolutely fed up in what he was doing. And he said, Doug, you know what? I'm in IT. I'm solving people's problems every day. I come in and all I get is blah, 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 complain, blah, 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 complain. I'm fed up. I'm going to leave. I don't want to hang around anymore. And I said, look, Sean, reframe it. Think about what we do. We provide financial solutions for that granny or grandpa so that they can retire younger, give more to their children, give more to their grandchildren, buy that holiday home, or have a better life. So every single time you are solving a problem in terms of IT, you're actually creating an opportunity to make someone's life better. And he goes, whoa, I've never thought of that. Jesus. And I know that guy is still there 4 years on. And I know that he's happy because he has a different frame in his mind of how that works. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. But anyway, and the final bit of my make acronym is energy and enthusiasm. I found that people who worked for me in terms of sales, I've had sales teams of 100, 200 people, and the ones who are the most energetic and the most enthusiastic were always the ones who are the most successful. And in terms of the knowing mindset, was talking of mindset, McKinsey have done a study and they show that people who are in the flow or that knowing mindset are 500% more productive. Forbes have shown that happier staff, 20% more productive. Happier salespeople bring in 37% more sales. And actually, as I said earlier, I worked in the stock market. So as you can see here, Fortune's top 100 companies rose 14% over a period of time, averaging per annum, whereas those outside only averaged 6%. So this knowing mindset, or this happy state, can affect the entire wealth of the entire world. And if you look at my next slide, this is the Santa Rally. So this is the FTSE 100 showing returns over the last 2 weeks of the year. And you can see the highest is about 6% over the last 2 weeks, and lowest -3%. So you can see over those 17 years or 18 years, whatever it is, there's only 2 periods where it goes down. So 80% of the time, stock markets tend to go up when they know they're going to be happy the next day. And this actually, if you have a look at Thanksgiving, Independence Day, or even Easter, the day before, the results are exactly the same. So if you've got any money and you want to invest, have a look at one of those days just before. Skip that one. Now, I said earlier on about my friend who was the IT guy who, he didn't feel empowered and then he reframed it. I have to say it's really important to make sure that every single day you know exactly what you're doing. I mean, let's face it, when we walk into Microsoft's office, this is what they have there. And I don't know about you, but you'd be walking in and go, Jesus, that's pretty good. I do that every day. I'll come in here, I feel good. Yeah. So I would highly suggest that whether you're a small business or working for a large business, you either put that on your web or your LinkedIn site or whatever you're doing so that you advertise why you do what you do and you know it yourself every single day. I work for UBS, the private bank, and they moved across with 10 people to set up this company called Vestra Wealth. And they bought an office like this for 10 people. And I walked in there to the CEO, I said, gee, you're a bit brave. And he said, Doug, I want the whole team, including myself, to visualize the end in mind. Visualize what we're trying to achieve. Yes, there's only 10 of us. Yes, there's space for 200 people. But they will know that every single day they walk in that door, that's what we're aiming for. And within 3 years, they had to move out of this office. Within 5 years, they had 7 billion under management. And within 7 years, they got bought out by the Liechtenstein Investment Group. And they're all multimillionaires. So dream big and get the rest of the team that work with you to dream big as well. Now, you also need to get them really behind what you're doing, behind your product. And this is a great story. I love this story. It's not mine, but I'll tell the story. So basically, there's a young boy, and he's walking along the coast of Galway. And as he walks down the coast on the cliffside, he sees these 3 incredible-looking stones. And he clambers down, he picks these stones up, and he goes, wow, they're beautiful. He takes them up to his dad, and he goes, Dad, look at these stones. They're incredible. What will I do with them? And his dad says, well, I know, son. Take the first stone, go down to the local market, put it in a market stall, make it look pretty. Sorry, flicking on. Make it look pretty. If someone goes up, just show them the peace sign if they want to buy it. Nothing else. He goes down to the market, he puts his stone down, he makes it look pretty, he waits. And this beautiful young lady comes up and goes, wow, what a beautiful stone. How much do you want for it? €2. Deal, done. Thank you very much. And he goes back to his dad. He goes, Dad, I got €2 for that stone. It's incredible. What will I do with the next one? He goes, I know, son. Take the next stone, go up to the local diamond merchant. He sells precious stones. Go in there. If he wants to buy it, do the same thing. He goes down to the local diamond merchant. He shows him the stone. The diamond merchant goes, wow, what a beautiful stone. How much do you want for it? €200. Deal, done, thank you very much. And he goes back to his dad, he goes, Dad, I got €200 for that stone. What will I do with the last one? He says, I'll tell you what, son. Take the last stone, go up to Dublin, go to the National History Museum, go into the precious stone department, find the professor, show him the stone. If he wants to buy it, do the same thing. He goes up to Dublin, he goes to the National History Museum, he finds the professor, he shows the professor. The professor goes, wow, what a beautiful stone. How much do you want for it? €20,000. Deal, done, thank you very much. And he goes back to his dad, he goes, Dad, this is absolutely incredible. What does it mean? This guy goes, don't you know, son? If you value what you have to offer and hang around with the right people, you get very different results. So what I would say for you and your business is to really value what you have to offer and value what, in terms of inside, what you can give to others, and then hang around with the right people. I was up in the Shelburne last Friday, and I sat there working for 2 hours with the intention of just proving this. And I sat down and I met a very famous dragon from the Dragon's Den. He'd been on my radio show. We sat down, we talked for about an hour, and we're now doing some business together. It just shows you the power of being in the right place at the right time. And if you can get your teams to value what you have to offer, it shows and it comes through when you're selling and when you've got a product, giving it to other people. So really value it and hang around with other people. I have to say, I used to travel business class, not because I wanted to be flash, because I didn't know who I might sit next to. I sat next to the CEO of Game On Media. We got chatting. He ended up coming to a gig later on. He got me into his business and paid me thousands to speak to his employees. And that is why you need to be in the right place in the right time. Think big. Think outside of the box. You never know who you might meet. Now, once you get yourself there or your staff there, and you've got that passion and that purpose that will increase your performance and your productivity, you need to make sure you keep yourself there. So I'm actually a master teacher of 5 modalities of healing. As I said earlier on, I used to play National League, Premier League hockey as well. So I've coached internationals in terms of hockey, but I also coach people in terms of well-being. And well-being is all about body, mind, and soul. And do you know that I go in and I speak to so many top CEOs, and I was speaking to Angus Hegarty, who's the president of Dell, on Wednesday, and we were talking about well-being and health. And it's incredible how many top CEOs believe in health, well-being, and healing. It's incredible because they know how the universe works and how energy works. So if you can optimize your energy, you can optimize your performance in life. And that's why it's really important about body, mind, and soul. Now, body is obvious. We all know about nutrition, exercise, and rest, right? Who here goes to the gym? Yeah? Anybody else? Anybody else go to the gym? Most of us sit there all day doing bugger all, get up at lunchtime, go to the gym, run like crazy for an hour, and then sit back down and don't do anything else for the rest of the day. I highly encourage you to do exercise all the way through the day. Even if you can get up at your desk and start doing some star jumps or something like that. I have a lot of smokers who used to work for me and they say, oh yeah, smoking relaxes me, it's a really good thing, it helps me with this. And I said, no, give up smoking. Do exactly what you do. You get up out of your seat, you walk outside, you get into the fresh air, and you go, it's amazing, try it. Take big deep breaths like that and you'll feel incredibly good. So in terms of mind, I always say in terms of mind, you need to turn up like this rather than like that. There's so many of us that wake up in the morning, we feel a bit like that. But we really want to turn up like that. And there's many ways you can do it, and I have a lot of programs that I do within companies and on an individual basis to be able to get people into this state rather than that state. I don't have time. The only thing I will say, though, is in terms of mind, is self-talk and smart talk. When I was working in one of the companies that I worked at, I took the team that I work with and the region I work with, we took it from 50 million in sales per annum to 1.75 billion per annum. It's all online, you can see it because of the companies that I used to look after and they got on the fact sheets and everything like that. So that's 25 times in sales in 6 years we did it. And when I was going into some of these biggest companies, and I made sales sometimes of something like 530 million, it was all about mindset. It was all about self-talk. But the other thing I would say as well is be careful who you hang around with. Because the talking of the energy that comes out of your mouth can really affect you as a person as well. I proposed last year. This is a funny story. So I proposed last year to my now fiance on the 22nd of the 2nd. So it'll be an anniversary in 2 days. I'm actually not even there. I'm going to Dr. John Demartini's breakthrough experience because I was on stage with him just on Tuesday, but she wasn't very happy with that. Anyway, when I proposed to her, I bought a really nice ring, but she comes from her uncle's a billionaire, and she comes from a very big family, and she had one of these big gold kind of family emblem rings on her middle finger. And I thought to myself, Jesus, my ring's not going to look very good against that. So I rang my mum, I said, yeah, I've got the ring, but I don't know, Mum, I wish she didn't have that ring on her finger because it's going to look a bit bigger than mine. Anyway, that night, on my children's lives, she got a rash underneath the ring and she had to take it off. And next day, I got down on one knee and proposed to her. True story. I've got loads of other ones like that. And what that really says is that you need to be careful what you think and what you say because energy can affect other people. Finally, meditation in terms of soul. There's so many people here that think meditation is some kind of woo-hoo thing, but actually, on my radio show, 120 people, I reckon 85% of them all meditate or visualize in some way. One, because they can reduce stress to increase energy for life. But secondly, they also can visualize their goals. They can visualize the steps to achieve those goals. Meditation is something I teach, and I make my own meditations up as well, and I highly recommend you do it. So in conclusion, have the right mindset. Get yourself into that state where you're motivating yourself so you can motivate the people around you as well. Take massive action, knowing where you are and have a direction of where you're looking to go to. Thirdly, knowledge, know your client, know your product, know your industry, and match your client needs to your USPs, but also have that knowing faith in yourself. Create it through the flow. And I have programs on, actually I've got a new online thing coming out now, which is all about the flow. And I've utilized on my online course everything I've learned in my fund management career, everything I've learned through my healing stuff, my coaching stuff, and I have coached Stuart Lancaster, the Leinster coach. I have coached CEOs, top CEOs. As I said, I was in with Angus Hegarty on Wednesday. On Tuesday, who's the president of Dell worldwide. I've worked with some of the best people in the world, and I'm utilizing what I have learned that has worked with them for you. And I do that on a one-to-one basis, and I also do that as well. If anyone comes up to me today and signs up for coaching or the online course, I'll give you a 10% discount. And finally, optimize your energy to optimize your performance in life. Everything in life is energy. Thoughts are energy. Speech is energy. Thoughts lead to speech. Speech leads to actions. Actions leads to habits. And habits leads to destiny. So think smart, talk smart, work smart, and if you're really smart, you'll get me in to do some one-on-one coaching with you. Take care.